Acts, then Romans. Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8, verse 36 and 37. And the text reads, "As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us." I want to talk about the contrast in a Christian's thought processes. The contrast in the Christian's thought processes. Or if you like alliteration, contrast in the Christian's consciousness. We often struggle with our own personal demons, our own personal struggles, our own personal issues, situations, and circumstances surround us on every turn. Sometimes we feel as if we are the best thing going.
Well,
sometimes we feel that you can't hold me. There is nothing that can hold me back. Everything you attempt to do, there is things that have found favor in it. And you smile and you are overjoyed and happy because what you have seen, what you have done, has been fruitful and it's multiplied. But sometimes you can't do no wrong. And everything you do, it comes up roses. And oh, what a pleasant and wonderful place it is to be in a situation where you can do anything you feel like and it comes up roses. But then there's the opposite angle, or the contrast in that consciousness, where nothing you do makes it. Every goal, every dream, every wish, every circumstance is a negative one. Y'all looking at me like y'all don't know what I'm talking about.
oh yes.
Or maybe it's because you're trying to hold back tears. Because right now you're in a position where what was once your joy is no longer your joy. you in that situation possibly right now where every time you buy a car, give it 6 months, and the engine locks up, or there's something majorly wrong with the vehicle. Better yet, maybe you bought a car, but your finances was good at that point of buying it. But now you can't afford the note. And what was once your joy and pleasure has now become your prison and jail. Maybe there's somebody else who you're not satisfied at church. You're not satisfied at home. You're not satisfied in your employment. You're not satisfied in your personal life. And now you find that everything in your world is turned upside down.
Oh, yes.
And you have a contrast in your consciousness. At first, you believe you can do no wrong, but now you're trying to find something positive and something right.
Yeah.
And here it is it not strange that Paul, in this particular verse and passage, opens up verses unto us that will help us in our dealing with our own consciousness. But in order for this sermon to work, we must first get our eyes off our situation and circumstance. Get our eyes off the people around us, but start looking on the inside of us and start really being real with who we are.
Yeah.
And this is why most of the time we cannot experience the power and the joy of being a Christian, is because we're too busy being caught up in the situations. We're too busy to be caught up in the circumstances, and we fail to see and realize where our power lies. It's right here in this verse where God uses Paul to tell us how to deal with our consciousness. And you know what? Truthfully, our consciousness is what really we sit around.
Yeah.
It's not what folk think of you, but it's really what you think folk think of you. Let me say it again. It's not what folk think of you, it's really what you think folk think of you. And the truth of the matter is, we too caught up in folk.
All right. Say it. Say it.
And the sad fact is, the folk we too caught up in is ourselves. I hope y'all caught that. Many times we get caught up in our own personal agenda, and we miss God's agenda, and God's hand is hindered in our lives.
Yes, sir. Say it.
I'm still in the text. We need to get off our own agenda and get on God's agenda.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And how do we get on God's agenda?
Tell us.
Let this mind
Okay.
be in you, which is also in...
Christ Jesus. Hallelujah.
See, your mind is so finite and so small that it doesn't look at time, space, and everything else like God does.
Say it.
So you need to get off your own personal agenda and get on God's agenda so God can grow you and the folk around you to become better believers and Christians.
Amen.
Okay.
The contrast in the Christian's consciousness. In the first verse that we read, verse 36,